The following presentation is best experienced with headphones.
Hello, honored guests. Things have certainly been lively around here lately. Please follow me, and we will make our way to the library. I want to thank you all again. The house is only capable of this much vitality because of you and your visits to us. Even when things seem a bit too lively, I admit that I prefer it to the drab days here before your visits began. Now we are almost there. Oh, Greer, we were on our way to you. Can I help you with something?
I will walk with you.
Certainly. Now, what's troubling you?
Nothing major. I just needed to come warn you and our guests to stay out of the stacks. The Fitzgeralds and the Hemingways are fighting again, and I'm having trouble breaking it up this time.
That's the third time this month, isn't it?
Yes, it all started when we got that plaque with baby shoes engraved into it.
Yes, the Fitzgeralds hate that story.
I have already removed the plaque. I think Bree is putting it up in the kitchens, where few books dare to go. But the Fitzgeralds apparently feel that they need to prove a point.
I could help you with it if you would like.
I would greatly appreciate the assistance, but we should stop by the kitchens for some protective equipment. After all, you do not have scales, and their barbs are cutting.
Sounds like a good idea. Well, honored guests, we have arrived at the library. Don't be too nervous. This isn't anything unusual for the house, and you shouldn't have anything to worry about as long as you stay with the circle in the entrance. As we head off to the kitchen to ready ourselves for battle, we leave you with the circle.
Hello, honored guests, and welcome.
You've beaten everyone else here except the two of us.
And me, of course. Though on that front, Claudio informed me that Lana and Morgana were called away very suddenly to another realm. Something about a sleeping sickness.
And I don't believe Emrys has returned from the Oracle yet, though I can't imagine what is keeping him.
Oh, so it will just be the two of us, unless...
Worry not, honored guests. Actual members of the Circle have arrived.
Yes, the stories of the Skuldrick Flame can be told properly now that we are here.
Okay, what is your problem with us? Just because we don't have some fancy seal doesn't mean that we don't deserve to be here.
That is exactly what it means. The seals are more than just wood and metal. They are a symbol that a storyteller is recognized by the House of Branching Paths.
Without that recognition, one can only truly be a guest of the house. Not that there is anything wrong with that, honored guests. But if one is to speak for the Flames, they should at the very least hold authority in the sanctuary of the Flames.
I should think that the Skuldrick Flame should be the one to decide who will speak for it, not the house. And in that case, I have more than earned my place in the circle.
It seems this discussion will have to wait for a time.
Yes, I think I see a crackle of a story on those flames.
The fire burns bright, with stories ever knowing.
Oh, it seems we have another tale from the Brothers Grimm.
Ah, yes. Jacob and Willem. They were proper members of the circle.
And, fittingly enough, this tale features someone who gets into trouble, pretending they have abilities that they lack.
Rumplestiltskin.
There once was a miller who was poor, but he had one beautiful daughter.
They lived quite humbly together, but the poor miller longed for an easier life. He thought one day,
I will go and speak to the king. Perhaps he can help us. Or perhaps we could find work in the castle.
And so the poor miller went to the king's palace. Once he was there, to the king on his throne he asked,
Please, Your Majesty, what can we do for you?
Well, this is indeed the question. What can you do for me?
I have a daughter who can spin gold out of straw.
That is an art which pleases me well. If your daughter is as clever as you say, bring her to my castle tomorrow, then I may put her to the proof.
The poor miller went home to his daughter and told her the news.
She was greatly troubled by what she heard, for she cried.
I have never spun straw into gold.
Nevertheless, the next day she was taken to the king's palace.
When the girl was brought to the king, he led her into a room that was quite full of straw,
and gave her a
Wheel and
spindle and said,
Now set to work, and if by early morning you have not spun the straw into gold, you shall die. Die.
And the king shut the door himself and left her there alone. And so the poor miller's daughter was left there sitting and did not know what to do next for her life. She thought,
I have no notion how to set work spinning gold from straw. Why would my father have said this?
And her distress grew so great that she began to weep.
Then all at once the door opened, and in came a little man, who said,
Good evening, miller's daughter. Why are you crying?
Oh, I have got to spin gold out of straw, and I don't understand the business.
What will you give me if I spin it for you?
My necklace.
Very well.
The little man took the necklace, seated himself before the wheel, and 3 times round, and the bobbin was full.
And he took up another, and 3 times round, and that was full.
And so he went on till the morning, when all the straw had been spun, and all the bobbins were full
Of gold.
At sunrise came the king, and when he saw the gold, he was astonished, and said,
Very well done. There's no way you can leave now. Come with me.
The king was very much rejoiced, for he was very avaricious. He had the miller's daughter taken to another room. She observed,
Oh dear, it is another room filled with straw, much bigger than the last.
but the king did not see her panicked look. He simply told her.
If you value your life, you must spin it all in one night.
Once more, he left the girl, and she did not know what to do, so she began to cry.
Oh, and then the door opened, and the little man appeared and said,
What will you give me if I spin all this straw into gold?
The ring from my finger.
That will do nicely.
So the little man took the ring and began again to send the wheel whirring round, and by the next morning all the straw was spun
into glistening gold. The king was rejoiced beyond measure at the sight, but as he could never have enough gold, he said,
One more night. This is just too wonderful.
He then had the miller's daughter taken into a still larger room full of straw, and said,
This too must be spun in one night, and if you accomplish it, you shall become queen.
For you see, the king only wanted riches, and thought,
Although she is but a miller's daughter, this kingdom has no one richer in the whole world.
As soon as the girl was left alone, the little man appeared for the 3rd time and said,
What will you give me if I spin the straw for you this time?
I have nothing left to give.
Then you must promise me the first child you have after you are queen.
But who knows whether that will happen?
I suppose we do not. But I do know this straw cannot be strung into gold without my helping you.
I did not know what else to do in my time of need, so I promised the little man what he desired.
Upon this, he began to spin until all the straw
Was gold.
And when in the morning the king came and found all done according to his wishes, he said,
Splendid! A queen you shall be.
and the miller's pretty daughter became a queen.
In a year's time, she brought a fine child into the world, and thought no more of the little man.
But one day he came suddenly into her room and said,
Now give me what you promised me.
The queen was terrified greatly, and offered.
No, please. I will give you all the riches of the kingdom if you would only leave my child.
No, I would rather have something living than all the treasures of the world.
the queen began to cry again.
So that the little man had pity upon her, he said,
I will give you 3 days, and if at the end of the time you cannot tell my name, you must give up the child to me.
You have a deal.
Then the queen spent the whole night thinking over all the names she had ever heard, and got an idea.
I know. I will send a messenger through the land to ask far and wide for all the names that can be found.
And when the little man came the next day, the queen began listing names.
Casper,
That is not my name.
Melchior,
That is not my name.
Balthazar,
That is not my name.
She repeated all she knew
Nope.
Quentin,
and went through the whole
Not
list.
even close.
But after
John,
each,
try
the little
again.
man
Frank,
continued to
Nope.
say,
Paul.
That is not my name.
The second day, the queen sent to inquire of all the neighbors what all the most unusual and singular names could be, and when the little man came in, she listed the names, saying,
Perhaps you are roast ribs,
That is not my name.
or sheepshanks,
That is not my name.
or spindleshanks.
That is not my name.
and that was all he ever answered.
The third day, the messenger came back to the queen and said,
I have not been able to find a single new name, but as I passed through the woods, I came to a high hill, and near it was a little house. And before the house burned a fire, and round the fire danced a little comical man, and he hopped on one leg and cried,
Today I bake, tomorrow I brew. The day after that, the queen's child comes in, and oh, I am glad that nobody knew that the name I am called is Rumplestiltskin.
Rumplestiltskin.
But you cannot think how pleased the queen was to hear that name. And soon afterward, when the little man walked in and said,
Now, Mrs. Queen, what is my name?
she said it first.
Are you called Jack?
No,
Are you called Harry?
no.
And then she said,
Then perhaps your name is Rumplestiltskin.
The devil told you that! The devil told you that!
In his anger, he stamped with his right foot so hard that it went into the ground above his knee.
and there, stuck from his own anger, is where he stayed ever since.
The end. A search for a name that brings about salvation. A name that I found serendipitously. I wonder.
I wonder, too, if you have taken a proper lesson from this story.
You keep consulting that old book of yours as if it will reveal everything to you. But all you find is poetry.
Leave him alone. What right do you have to comment on his search for his name?
But what if they are right, Jax? What if I don't deserve to be here?
You know what? Let's make a deal between the two of us. We are going to prove ourselves to them and to everyone that we belong here.
I suppose that I can at least agree to try.
What kind of an attitude is that? Here, give me that book of yours. Maybe I can find something in it. Oh, here. A poem written in 1921 by Hilda Doolittle under her pen name, H.D.
Song.
You are as gold as the half-ripe grain that merges to gold again.
As white as the white rain that beats through the half-open flowers of the great flower tufts thick on the black limb of the Illyrian apple bough.
Can honey distill such a fragrance as your bright hair?
For your face is as fair as rain, yet as rain that lies clear on white honeycomb, lends radiance to the white wax, so your hair on your brow casts light for a shadow. The end.
I am not sure what the poem had to do with the search for his identity.
It seems some paths might be dead ends, but I won't give up on my search, and you shouldn't give up either, Jax.
Oh, I won't.
That is all well and good. But for now, we must say goodbye to our honored guests.
Yes, I think I see the crackle of a story on those flames, but for next time.
The fire burns low, with stories ever glowing. Honored guests, come follow me, for you mustn't stay at our house for too long. That gold Rumplestiltskin spun was so pretty. Stay close behind my guests, and whatever you do, don't answer any voices you may hear on the way out. Oh, what is that down there, down the hall? Is that a spinning wheel? Oh dear, I hope Morgana and Lana know that this is here. Maybe that's what's causing this sleeping sickness. No, don't touch the spindle, honored guests! Oh, but do come back. Hearing the circle stories brings me to life.
You have been listening to The House of Branching Paths, a theatrical podcast experience brought to you by Round 2 Productions, created by Mark Kilmer and Caroline Miller, with featured artists Kimmy Kidd, Bill Blanky, April Sita, Justin Panachia Shimza, Jamie Chandler, George Doerr, Joshua Towers, and Katie Bailey, with music by Elegy. For even more content, join us on our Patreon, or for more stories like these, be sure to visit your local library. Thank you for joining us, honored guests, and remember, the fire may burn low, but the stories are ever glowing.